Hi, my name is Danna-Gift. Welcome to my channel where I talk about very popular topics, and lately I have been feeling like discussing our modern day dating. If you have not already, please subscribe to my channel. But for now, today's topic is gonna be why women are so picky. We're picky. And that's okay to say. There is nothing wrong with people being picky. I think men are picky too in their own specific way, but because I'm a woman, I'm only gonna cover the perspective of a woman. Right? Because I am not a man, I don't have the required body parts. Make sure you stay till the end, because not only am I gonna give you reasons why I believe women are picky, but I'm also gonna give you a conclusion of what I think should end up happening to kind of combat and hopefully improve our dating world today. Women might not completely agree with, and men, you're probably gonna be maybe a little happier with what I have to say, but also maybe not so happy. Now, by no means am I a professional. I only speak based off of my opinion, so please let me know in the comments below if you agree or disagree with any of these points, but let's go ahead and dive right in. This is gonna get real fucking good. This is gonna be good. Now, I have it all summed up into one big reason: because we are stepping into power.
I mean, at this point, it's the culture. Period.
I feel like I said that like a dictator. It's funny that it's called dictatorship, and it's like we don't have a beginning part of that dictatorship, you know what I'm saying? Women are stepping into power, and I think that that is the ultimate reason why women are becoming more picky. We are now taking on roles that traditionally we never took on. Look all the way back to even just my childhood. We grew up with Disney, the Pretty Princess era. We only knew how to be saved by Prince Charming. So that taught us that, okay, maybe we need a man in order to be taken care of, in order to live a good, happy life. Not only that, we were trained since children to become mothers. The most common gift that you give a little girl is a baby so that she can learn how to play with it, feed it. So we have been pre-programmed since childhood to become essentially just housewives and mothers. That is so different from the reality that we have today. If you really think about it, it feels like it was so long ago, but women barely got the right to vote about 100 years ago. This was back in the 1920s, and yes, I did my research. You really think about it, 100 years is really not that long for an entire gender or species or anyone to really fully step into their power. We're still evolving and still adapting into our new space of, you know, having freedom to do so, freedom to step into the same positions that men used to have, that used to only be secluded to. We're just now stepping into a place where we're being treated a little bit more equally in the workforce, in the home front, and things of that nature. They're stepping into a huge shift, which is what I'm gonna call the boss babe movement. So women are becoming CEOs, women are leading the household, women are getting paid the equivalent of men, if not more. There's becoming more women entrepreneurs in the world today as well. So women are just really stepping into their power. They're able to. We finally got the freedom to. So we're exploring that, and because of that, and because we're essentially upgrading ourselves and we're educating ourselves, we're seeking higher things than just being a housewife. That means our standards have raised too. That means we are getting a little bit more picky. Now, I have a lot to say about this, okay? Women in general, we like to date up. And what I mean by that is we don't like to date anyone whose education is lesser than ours. We like to date men who are just as educated as us, if not more, and just as emotionally intelligent as us, if not more emotionally intelligent. And yes, we do like to date up when it comes to finances. And the reason why we do this is because women are looking for a potential mate that is ideal for creating a family. We're looking for a man who is able to give our future babies, you know, the same education level, a higher education level, being able to take care of the family, and just an overall solid mate that we feel is safe and can provide us with a beautiful family, right? That is a subconscious programming that we have And it's just in our nature to seek a male who we feel is a really good mate for us. And this goes back to the idea of a high value man. And high value means educated, emotionally intelligent. It doesn't necessarily mean somebody who is financially secure. And a study shows that the more educated a man is, the more high value he is considered. So men, keep that in mind. Now, the problem with that is there are more women enrolled in college than there are men. Now, I'm not saying that you're only educated if you go to college, but if we're basing it solely off of academics and our universities, then men might be in trouble because women are wanting to find men who are just as educated, if not more educated. And if education equals high value and men are not getting educated, that means less high value men on our earth. But more men are also entrepreneurs, so they also don't enroll in college. A study shown 60% of the college attendees are now women and 40% are men. Men are no longer enrolling in college. Now, this could be the entrepreneur era that is spreading across the land as well, and men typically dominate in the entrepreneurial standpoint. Now, the reason why men are more likely to start a business is because they actually have an overconfidence that women do not have yet. So, if you think about it, if overconfidence is the main reason why men are starting businesses more than women, imagine what will happen in the next couple of years as women step more into their power and step more into their confidence. Because once we are more confident, that means more women are going to start becoming more entrepreneurs, more boss babes, etc. I've already seen the movement. I've already seen so many women stepping into their power and starting businesses. So that shift has already begun. Now, let's go back to the idea of women dating upwards. Let's talk about finances here for a second. Because women like to date up, yes, that means that we also like to date somebody who is making more money than us, typically, right? Studies show that women want the men to make an upwards of 55% or more than what they're currently making. So, an example, if a woman is making $50K per year, then that means she expects a man to make a 50% increase of what she is already making. Now, do you see where the problem is? First of all, let's go back into a little bit more of my research. Only 9% of people in our entire population are six-figure income earners. 9%, that's very slim. There's not a lot of people who are making over six figures. For those females who are making over six figures, it's gonna be very difficult for us to find people who are making 50% more than what we are making, right? Do you see where there is a problem here? Because I kind of do. Let's dive into our psyche for a little bit. Now, I wanted to tie this all in together because I feel like I'm gonna do this really well. And I told you about the history of women being taught that we need a Prince Charming in order to save us, right? Now, if we tie in that mindset of wanting a man to take care of us, and we tie it into our current day where we're making more money, we are stepping into our power, we are now boss babes, but we still haven't let go of some of the ideas that we had in the past. So we're still wanting men to take care of us, we're still wanting men to step up to the plate, but now they're just gonna have to up their standards significantly, right? So women are just wanting men of high value, high education, high emotional intelligence, high finances. So where does that leave us? Because we are wanting to have a man of high value. So if men can't be six-figure earners, where does that leave them? It's a really good question. Most of the men who are making over six figures, we didn't even factor in that they could already be taken. So that even lessens our dating pool significantly more. There is a saving grace, so don't think that I'm only talking about how high our expectations are, because there is a saving grace for men. Let me pause. I don't think women should lower their standards, but I do think that we should be realistic, right? We should have, and this is all completely preference. Women do have a tendency to choose emotional intelligence, education over finances. Now, that is great for men because that means that you don't have to make 50% more than what your woman is making. You just have to be emotionally intelligent, maybe funny, maybe humorous, maybe just having a good deep soul and maybe some spirituality even. And a woman will choose that over your finances. So that is the saving grace, guys. You could still save yourself if you're not making enough money, you could show up in different areas. And actually, I don't know if you guys have noticed, but there are plenty of beautiful women out there who are far more beautiful than their significant other, yet you see them with these men who are not that attractive. And why? It's because these women are choosing these men who treat them like queens, who treat them like they're everything. And another study shows that men who are not as attractive actually treat women with more respect because they treat it as if they have a good thing. They're just grateful for the relationship that they have. Now, I'm not saying that that means women date down in the attractiveness level just so that they could be, waited on hand and foot. That's not what I'm saying. I'm saying is women, at the end of the day, we are emotional creatures and we want to connect with somebody emotionally and spiritually. So that is the saving grace. If finances are not something that you can achieve right away, then emotional intelligence and education is something that men can do. What I'm saying is, in the conclusion on that, is that women will choose a man if they feel cherished, if they feel like they're being treated with respect, if they're funny. So what does that mean for men? That means, men, you're gonna have to step your game up emotionally. Now, I know that this is very difficult because if we look at the history of men as well, they have been taught to not show up emotionally. They have been taught to quiet their emotions, to never express themselves. If they express themselves, it was a sign of weakness.
Hey, you never loved me, Mom, but I needed you. Whoa, yeah, no!
So a lot of changing has to happen in that, and I do see the shift in men being able to express themselves, being emotionally open and things like that. More recently, I have really good examples of men in my life that are showing up for their women emotionally, and I love that, right? I think there's a movement going on. I will say that there is a huge gap between women and men and in our dating preference, right? Back then, women were not being as selective because they didn't really have a choice, right? They didn't work, they were housewives, and the men were the main breadwinners. So men used to lord over their financial status over their women a lot, and women would stick around because they didn't really have a choice. They didn't know what else they would do. Now that women are stepping more into power, men can't really use finances over a woman because a woman can now achieve that same financial security that she could not get before. I saw a show the other day about a woman who was dating a millionaire, almost billionaire, and he treated her like complete crap, and she basically left him for a personal trainer who made a fraction of what he made, but because he treated her very kindly. So this is just to say, treating somebody kind goes a long way. It's not all about the money, guys. In conclusion, I just wanted to say, yes, I do believe women are getting pickier because we are stepping into our power. We are now starting to recognize that we can make as much as men. We can step into a CEO position. A lot of women are leading households now. Just because women are making more money or making equivalent money, then that doesn't necessarily mean you have to make more money in order to keep up with them. All you have to do is increase your emotional intelligence, increase your education, and just learn how to connect with women on a deeper, more spiritual level in general. Learn how to listen to them, learn how to open up and express yourselves. I personally had a relationship that the reason why we ended things was because he would never open up emotionally to me. He never expressed his emotions, never wanted to talk about his feelings, and he was very closed off. And eventually that tore us apart because I never knew what was going on in his head. He was never able to express it. So that was eventually what tore us apart, because he wasn't emotionally available. But it's also a lack of emotional intelligence, not being in tune with yourself, not feeling free to express yourself. Now, I know that it's going to take years to overcome that, or maybe even just a year of really, really deep soul searching, but there is a way to overcome that. Same with women. We have been emotional creatures from the beginning of time, but we also have to learn how to control that as well. But men, all you can do at this point is really just to keep working on yourselves, to increase your emotional intelligence, learn how to tell a joke here and there. Women love funny men. and just learn how to respect the movement that's kind of going on. I'm not saying women empowerment. I'm not speaking, extreme feminist. I'm definitely not that. All I'm saying is that women are now starting to experience a little bit of power. Now, speaking of women experiencing power, women, this is where I'm going to ask for your patience and understanding as I speak on this, because women, we're getting a little drunk with power. Now, I have seen extreme feminists across the board, and although I do stand for equality and I love empowering women, maybe we need to not be so degrading to men as we're doing it, because men also have an ego. And the problem with that is when we're stepping into power, a lot of the times we will degrade a man to say that they're not handling us right. And then when they don't handle us right, we're saying he's not enough of a man. So maybe we need to take a step back and learn how to empower our men while we are allowing them to navigate and explore their emotional intelligence. Maybe give them a safe space to open up to us emotionally so that you can create a good partnership together in general. Now, another thing I also want to say about women in our society. Not to say that we should lower our standards, because by no means should you ever settle, and that goes for men and women. But I will say maybe we need to be a little bit more realistic with our expectations of men. And now we are able to step into our power, and that means that since we are stepping into that, we also have to recognize that men are becoming equivalent with us. We're fighting for that equality. So that means that we can't expect the men to just all of a sudden skyrocket into this extremely high valued man if they haven't even had the time to really advance and grow, right? Nobody really saw this coming. We didn't see the boss babe movement happening. It just started happening because we fought for equality. And because of that, we're getting exactly what we wanted, which is a beautiful thing. All I'm saying is, no, don't lower your standards. It is all your preference. If you need $1 million man, the 666, right? He's 6 figures, 6 feet tall, 6-pack. Then by all means, you do you, boo-boo. Don't ever settle. But I will say, for those of us who are just trying to find a man to connect with, maybe we need to be more realistic with our standards with the average man, because the average man does not make 6 figures. He does not have the 6-pack. The average man is not always 6 foot. Don't lower your standards, but let's be realistic. The actual percentage of the men that we're looking for don't really exist in our world, which is very unfortunate. I know that there's another female out there who's saying, well, I don't want average, I want extraordinary. And by all means, babe, you do that. I believe that you deserve that. I do believe that men are stepping up their game emotionally. I just think that we're at 2 different extremes right now. I think that men are just now stepping into their emotional side. I feel like men are barely starting to feel free to express themselves emotionally, and women are stepping into their power. So we're becoming more empowered. Now with that, I think because we're exploring that world right now, I think we're at 2 extremes. I think that men are maybe getting a little bit too emotionally expressive, and then women are also getting too drunk with power that we're starting to be demeaning. There's just a lot of things. Oh my God, I feel like that's a whole nother video topic that I could definitely talk about. But basically what I'm saying is, since women are making more and we are stepping into our power and we are, educating ourselves, we're still emotional beings and we're seeking more, right? We're searching and we're discovering more. That means our standards have raised, and I'm sure men are also raising their standards as well. And I think that's perfectly normal. That's the human race, right? We are meant to want to improve ourselves. We're meant to want to advance and explore. That's evolution. So what that means is, I think that men just need to become more emotionally intelligent, and women need to just be a little bit more realistic and maybe not so drunk with power when it comes to that, and just understanding that there's not really a lot of men at the same level as some of these boss babes are stepping into. Because ultimately, women will, again, leave a man who makes millions of dollars to find a man who they actually spiritually and emotionally connect with and who treats them right. So that is the conclusion I have. Men, let's get it together. Let's learn how to be more emotionally intelligent. Let's learn how to be respectful towards women. and just treating them right. But women, let's not lower our standards, but it's also be realistic. That's all I have to say. Where we deserve what we deserve, we should fight for what we deserve, but also let's just be realistic on what's available to us. It's like wanting a very signature Lamborghini and there's only 10 in the world, and 10 of those are taken, and you still want the one Lamborghini. It's just not made. It's not possible yet. We are breeding beautiful men. I think that eventually the playing field is gonna level out. I think we're just both on two sides of two extremes, that we're kind of creating an imbalance and almost a little bit of a war between men and women. But I don't think that needs to be the case. I do think that we should be open to the different ideas. I hope that you guys liked this video. I know that I kind of touched on so many different views during this video, and I hope that that gives you a little bit of an understanding why I think women are picky today. I'd love to hear your opinions on what I have spoken about in this video in the comments, so let me know. And I respond back to everybody's comments on my YouTube channel, so please feel free. I'd love to have a discussion with you. I hope you all have a wonderful day. Thank you for watching again. Next video, I am going to talk about, is it okay to have sex on the first date? I think it's really going to be a good one. Thanks again for always showing love and support on my YouTube channel, and I will see you the next video.